Hello, my name is Sky. I do video game miniatures. I made the golden statue from Super Metroid out of paper, and I'm here to show it off. Stick around to find out how you can potentially win this sculpture. The first part I'm creating is Phantoon. Beginning with their body and head, I layer up different profile cuts of ply paper to create a chunkier brick of paper to work from. Once I have the body parts laminated together, I shave and sand the different elements until they're mostly smooth. Then I smooth them out just a little more with a strip of sketchbook paper, then cut and wrap these scalloped pieces to create Phantoon's tubey appendage. I apply a thin piece of sketchbook paper to fill out Phantoon's dome, and then sand it until smooth. Then I carve and sand these details into the head, carve out a pocket for Phantoon's mouth, and build up the mouth from layers of paper. Glue that into place. Then I carve and sculpt these two spiky appendages. Reinforce the pointy ends with Sobo glue. Layer this ridge up along the top with 2 strips of Bristol paper. Carve out 2 tentacles from a thin strip of ply paper. Carve a pair of circular pockets for the tentacles. Secure those pockets into place. Soften the ridge line. Bulk out the back of Phantoon's head. I make a boatload of spikes by carving a steep profile into a sheet of thin ply paper, chopping spikes into it, and cutting these out, then applying them in small batches until the back is packed with spikes. I make and apply this plump upper lip. Add teeth to the tubey appendage, then the mouth. Attach the tentacles. Carve an eyeball from a small block of paper. Install it in the mouth. And there's Phantoon. Next is Dragon. I start by layering up a block in the shape of Dragon's body profile. Remove the tail for now. Build up Dragon's big wide belly. Shave and sand until smooth. Carve Dragon's belly dimple. Carve a pocket for the belly into the profile, then glue the belly into place. Shape and smooth the tail, then reattach. Bulk up the body and tail. Shape and sand these smooth. Then layer up Dragon's fish lips. Create Dragon's eye sockets. Bulk up the cranium. Block out a neck section. Smooth out the tail with a slip of sketchbook paper. Carve out and sand smooth the segmentation. Begin layering up sections of carapace from a few layers of cardstock. Create the tail with a few layers of cardstock. Glue into place. Bulk out the noggin and then shape the head. Then build up the cranium details starting with this brow line. Then these skull details. Reinforce the neck joint with a slip of sketchbook paper. Shape the skull details. Attach a chunk of ply paper for the gullet. Shape it with a knife. Smooth this out gently with a sketchbook paper. Smooth out the upper back with a strip of sketchbook paper. Then add the large upper carapace section. Blend this together with a knife, and then smooth it out with sketchbook paper. Build up the shell section around the neck. Blend the gullet into the shell. Carve these pockets for the legs and glue them into place. Prepare a bunch of stubby spikes just like with Fantoon. Apply these all over the carapace. Carve out 8 legs. Shave the edges off. Then wrap the joints. Then round off the joints. Then glue these into the pockets. Add a round set of needle-like teeth. Sculpt a pair of bug eyes. And install these into the eye sockets. Now for Crade. I start with a much chunkier layering of ply paper profiles. Then I shave this, and shave it, and shave it, and sand it, and shave it, and sand it, and smooth it all out with sketchbook paper. Then I create 3 blocks of paper and curved profiles to make up Crade's large tail. I layer these, shape and sand these. Then glue the first part to the second, and the second to the third. Then I reinforce the connections with a strip of sketchbook paper. And do the same to attach the tail to the body. And begin to carve out the segmentations along Crade's big belly. Then I layer up and shape Crade's big chicken thighs. Then Crade's chunky feet. Then Crade's long, spindly arms. Once smooth, I glue these into place. Smooth out the underside of the tail with a slip of sketchbook paper. Glue the feet to the legs to the body. Reinforce the shoulders with a strip of sketchbook paper. Carve up 2 bulky shoulders and attach these into place. Carve up Crade's 3 belly button cannons and glue these into place. Reinforce the neck, the ankles, and the thigh connections with sketchbook paper. Then begin carving up Crade's head beginning with the skull. Carve up a snout or jaw and glue this to the head. Glue the head to the body. Reinforce the joint with paper. Carve the belly button cannons. Add bulky talons to the feet. Build up the lips. Carve out a pair of long, sharp taloned hands. Round off the edges. Bend them into shape. Build up the inside and back of the palm. Smooth these out. And then attach. Add 3 eyeballs. Soften the lip details with a knife. Shape and smooth the snout. Build up and shape Kraid's flabby neck. Add a small horn to the snout. Build up the eyes with 1 more layer. Create and attach Kraid's crest or ears. Carve out the segmentation along the underside of Kraid's tail. Create Kraid's sharp belly button missiles. Glue these into place. Prepare a mountain of hexagonal scales made from single thickness Bristol paper. Apply individually by hand, basically everywhere. Feathering out the glue with a brush. Attach the last horns to the top of Kraid's head. Then apply 1 coat of Sobo to fill wide gaps and seal the paper in. Then connect Dragon to Kraid's tail with Sobo. And then Phantoon to Kraid and Dragon. Allow time to fully cure before moving. In the meantime, Ridley. Starting with the head and body, I build up profiled blocks of paper and then shape and sand smooth both profiles. Then I carve up Ridley's long legs. Carve a pocket into the neck of the torso. Glue the legs into place. Begin detailing the head with thin layers of cardstock, starting with the lower jaw. Then the upper jaw. Then shaping out Ridley's long, pointy cranium. Then shave and smooth out Ridley's cranium with sketchbook paper. Begin working through Ridley's sharp brow line and crest. Add the eyes. Then I carve up a neck piece, rounding off the edges, building up the joints, and then rounding those joints off before joining to the head. Then I give Ridley some abs. I build up and smooth Ridley's backside. I cut out a layer of exposed ribs. I glue this onto the backside, build up Ridley's collar, and then wrap the ribs around the front one by one. Then add a sternum with ribs to the front and join these ribs to the ribs that wrapped around from the back. I add the neck joint into the collar, reinforce and shape the hip joint by wrapping sketchbook paper strips, build up the thighs just a little thicker, then shape and smooth these out. Attach the head and neck. I start making Ridley's feet. I round off the edges of the talons, reinforce the ends with glue, wrap to build up the knuckles, carve down the ankles, glue the feet into place, and accentuate the ankles. I begin carving up Ridley's long, thin arms. I round these off. I carve in slight musculature and glue these into place. Then I create Ridley's sharp-clawed hands, curling the fingers into position, reinforcing with glue, attaching into place, and building up the back side of the palm. Then I begin carving Ridley's long tail. I shape this smooth, wrap segments from sketchbook paper, carve up the sharp daggered end of the tail, carve the segments so that they scallop into each other, attach the daggered end, create a sharp spine and attach this to Ridley's back, then attach Ridley's tail. Now to build up Ridley's wings, I use 5 layers of cardstock. I shape and knock off most of the edges. Ridley is a dangerous enemy, so they can keep some of the sharp edges. Bend the wings and then secure this into place. Then attach so that Ridley is perched on top of Phantoon and reinforce this with 5-minute epoxy. From here, I whip up a basic round block for the base from my no-good trash Matboard and then skin it with Bristol ply paper so I have a durable surface to build from. I cut these sections of ring from ply paper to create the elevated surround which will form the pond that the statue sits in. I build up the support here and then glue the ringlets into place. I face the inside and outside with thin ply paper, then build up a middle ring along the outside. I begin carving up a mountain of irregular stone chunks from thick Bristol ply paper, and then apply this all over the base, feathering out excess glue with a wet brush. Then I use a heavy application of crackle paste with a touch of water to fill wide gaps and additionally give the stone chunks a slight texture. Then I create these swamp weeds from thin ply paper, rounding off the edges and building up the bulbs. And I reinforce the weeds with glue. Then glue these into place. Now for Samus. I start with a chunk of ply paper for her body, legs, and head. Build up her body first. Then cut out her arms. Build up the front side of her legs before shaping the chest. And then rounding off edges. Then building up the back side of her legs. Attaching her feet. Building up her arms. Then rounding off all the edges. Adding the 2 power vents to her backside. Add a mech detail to the back of her thighs. Build out her boots. Then her knee guards. Then these round mech details to her hips and her knees. Bulking up her shoulders. Building up her helmet. Adding a mech detail to the front of her thighs. Layering this detail to her back. Then rounding off the shoulders. Adding this abdominal detail, smoothing off her helmet, attaching her left arm, building out her arm cannon. Then attaching the arm cannon. Allow the glue to dry and then gesso to prepare for paint. First step is to block in the colors. Once the colors are solid, after 2 coats, I begin to punch up small details and add loose highlights and shadows. I'm mostly shooting to define the built details or add details that weren't carved physically into the model. Then I prime the statue with a semi-gloss black. I let that dry for 24 hours before then spraying it with a gold. Then I dress the gold down with a wash of bronze. Then I block in the color for each eyeball, and I coat these with a high gloss clear sealer. Then I prime the base in the same black, but I work my way through coats and dry brushes of different green tones. I also touch up the swamp weeds along the way. Once I like the high texture, I tone the whole thing back with a loose wash of Payne's Gray. This tones the green down and moves the whole thing a touch closer to blue, which I personally like. Then I pop the swamp weed bulbs with a punch of yellow, and will later tone these back with the Payne's Gray. Finally, I clean up the bottom with a coat of black. From here, I prepare a batch of 5-minute epoxy. I dip this carefully into place, then place the statue, then place Samus. While these are curing in place, I prepare a batch of crystal clear resin from Let's Resin. I dye this a lovely blue color, then pour this into the basin until it just barely touches the statue's bottom. I give this 24 hours to cure, but in the meantime, I prepare a batch of lily pads from construction paper. Once I cut them, I touch them up with colored pencil, just for additional texture. Once the resin is cured, I apply globs of this ultra-clear, waterproof sealant from DAP. I spread this with a brush that I'm ready to sacrifice to create a ripple texture. Then I apply the lily pads to the top of this layer of sealant. Once I have enough lily pads, I touch the tops of these with a high gloss sealer to give the lily pads a slightly wet look. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad I could carve some time out to whip up this idea. This was actually a suggestion given to me by Scent over at Games Done Quick, and I'm stoked to say that this will be up as a prize donation for Summer Games Done Quick 2025. Check out their prize donations page to figure out when to donate, but more importantly, just go check out the event running from July 5th to the 12th at gamesdonequick.com. I think this came out just great, and I'm so excited to get this into the hands of the GDQ prize team. I want to thank them and all the folks at GDQ for an always entertaining and generous time. I'm looking forward to the event. I also want to thank my patrons. I'm sparse with updates, but I've got more projects in the tank ready to be fished out, so thank you as always for the support. If you did enjoy seeing the process, let me know with a like. Better than that, a comment. Better than that, share this video with your friends. Thank you. Go play Super Metroid. So long.